It's the most incredible feeling to be here. This is live.
Live.
WildEarth takes you on daily intimate experiences in nature live.
This is a very, very different adventure, charged with emotion.
Join expert guides as they search for Africa's most iconic animals.
How awesome is this? She's coming right past our vehicle. Take a closer look here.
Oh, careful. Oh, no.
Ask your host questions and have them answered in real time. Join us live every day on WildEarth. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jumbo, and another very good morning, wonderful people. Hope you're tuned in, and we are live here in the Masai Mara, ready to bring you your live safari. Yes, another wonderful morning, and the sun is up, so it is official. We are up and ready out here in the bush of Masai Mara to bring you this live safari. Hope you're ready for it. This morning we're set out to go to the plains, try and find those small Tswalu kitties that I saw yesterday. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Bungay, and we're ready to set out and, bring you the Tswalu cat kitties. That's what we are looking for. Then after that, I'm going to try and follow the migration because they're slightly headed south. Remember to talk to us, hashtag WildEarth. Also, you can send in a kids question at kidsquestion.wildearthtv. Today, the weather is 16 degrees Celsius, about 60 Fahrenheit. It's just a beautiful setting that we have here. A small watering hole in front of me, and the sun is just risen. There is not much going on around here. Today, there is a balloon, but it's coming, very late. It's not yet there, but it's just wonderful. Remember, I'm joined in by my colleagues who are here in the Mara and also in Southern Africa. So don't forget to send in your questions once again. And Heather Jumbo, I didn't hear your comment, but I hope you commented about the sunrise. It's just wonderful. It's just beautiful. It's a bit overcast. Yes, sorry about that, but yeah, it's a wonderful morning. It's just beautiful weather here. It's just cool. The wind is just picking up, but it's just perfect to be out here in the plains. This is the area that, we had lots of wildebeest and zebra a few days ago, but they all have left. And so I will be heading towards them. And while I do that, let me take you to one of my colleagues to introduce himself in another live safari vehicle.
We are currently looking at the sun. Now, I'm assuming that you managed to realize that, given that the blazing ball of gold is staring into your face. It's a lovely, lovely morning here. I must confess that the soundtrack of the Egyptian geese making their rather unpleasant call is not quite the operatic chorus one would want in the morning, such as that delivered by the Franklins. But it's okay. Hello, my name is James Henry. On camera today we have got... Paul. There's his thumb. And we're going to go and see if Thandi and her baby son are still in position as they were yesterday. Let's have one last look at the sunrise. Oh, and also we can look at a giraffe that is wandering past, also observing the recently risen orb that is our very own star. Well, Jolly Whiskey, it isn't a watercolour painting, I assure you, it is the real thing. You are seeing a digital representation of what is in fact a magnificent African sunrise here in the Western Kruger Park of South Africa. I always have to pause after I've said my cardinal points just to make sure that I am actually making sense with them. But a lot of the time I'm not. Please remember to talk to us using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Otherwise, you can use the chat streams on whatever platform you're watching. And if you're a youngster, you can talk to us using kids' questions at wildearth.tv.
Very good morning and a warm welcome to this side of the Mara. We have Olalashe who is resting here. It's a little bit chilly for him. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. These two lions here yesterday were trying to be about fighting each other. Olalashe was not happy because the younger one was trying to get closer to one of the little lionesses. But peace came over, peace prevailed, and everything settled down. But the lionesses took off. Yesterday evening I found them trying to stalk some gravy. So here they are at least cold. They're walking on the road, but now it's time to get over that cold and at least get some warmth. He was roaring like right now. I think he is trying to locate the lionesses, but they are not closer to here. But it was a soft roar. I'm not sure if he doesn't want the other male within this area to find him, because about 3 days ago there was split nose of Bob Marley who was within this territory. So I'm not sure if they're going to clash or not. So I'll be looking over to see if I'll find split nose, because someone spotted him last night, and it will be nice to see what kind of interaction will come. Daisy, thank you so much. I can't agree more. This is a beautiful lion. Look at the mane. Look at how neatly looking he is. He's been trying to scan around. They are not far from our camp. So all night long we had them roar. And I'm sure they're trying to locate those two lionesses. But the lionesses went to the direction of the escarpment where the Winner Pride resides. But we've seen a little bit of these lions overlapping other lions' territory. But they don't actually meet and clash, because there's food, there's lots of wildebeest and zebra, so each one is happy to move on within those territories. There's a balloon there, some people enjoying a balloon ride here in the Mara, a very good activity that tourists come to enjoy during the migration time, to see those big herds as they are traversing through this park. I'm
sure it's going to warm up later. So these lions will need to find some good spot for warmth. I'm going to go around and see if I can find something else. Seems like a good morning waking up to this. I'm going to send you over to another live location from the African wilderness.
Well, here it's starting to warm up already. The sun is rising over the hyena and it's active. I'm so happy. Hi, everyone. It's me, Trishal, and I've got BK on camera with me this wonderful morning down in Djuma Game Reserve at the Sabi Sands. It's about 13 degrees Celsius, 56 degrees Fahrenheit, and these guys are thoroughly enjoying this weather. I'm so happy to see them. Everyone is here. There's a ribbon and a gorgeous light. And all 4 little babies. They smell a little bit like a wet dog. Probably from walking around in the grass and picking up all that moisture. And they found themselves a toy in the form of a bone of some sort. Look how big and fluffy ribbons too are. Hello, you guys. Hey. No. My shoes are interesting, obviously. It's not the first person to tell me, so that's how I make friends, by my shoes. Hello, Shimbulu. So curious. What a rare opportunity it is to actually be able to see hyenas this close. Looks like they've been playing in some water, though, because Shimbulu's paws are wet. There's little Corky sniffing about. Oh, you actually look a little bit taller today. It's amazing how we don't see them for 2 days or 3 days, just a few days, and when we see them again, they've grown just that little bit more. Isn't this light just gorgeous? What a peaceful scene. So when we first got here, Ribbons 2 was suckling, and the other 2 were playing, Hearts 2, and then little Corky came out just a few minutes before you guys came to us. Look at that light! Angela, you'd like to know if Ribbon is the leader? Yes, Ribbon is the matriarch. She has been for the last, since maybe about March or so. March, April. And by being the matriarch, she'll benefit from first selection of den sites, of resting sites, shady spots, and most importantly, meals, food, kills. And that's why she will be basically the healthiest adult once she's in, or when an adult is in that matriarchal position. They eat better than everybody else. They eat more than everybody else. But it's still a stressful position because she just has to defend that matriarchy. Debbie, you'd like to know what their obsession with shoes is? I have no idea. My only educated guess would be that because it's rubbery, it's good to chew on. Same goes for tires or yoga mats, as we've learned. Maybe they like the smell of feet. Or perhaps it's a combination of feet smell and rubber. So happy that we're here and they're all out.
Jambo and welcome to my side of the world, and here I have a beautiful journey of the tall one, or the journey of giraffes, and looks like they are quite busy, and sorry, I had to go quite slightly because there's a lion roar off to my left, quite a distance away. I had to focus on that, but I can see it. Back to our giraffes. Looks like they're very busy, and this is what they do most in their lifetime. Spend many hours eating, sleeping only for almost an hour only in a day. I can't imagine that kind of life. Yes, and here it's a combination of adults, half-growns, a very beautiful journey. And there's also plenty of females. Looks like that bush is really going this time because they are loving it, and it's in abundance here in the Mara, so they just love it. Look at the pattern of the giraffes, in the middle. It is very unique. It's quite different. Lots of little patches. That's how you identify this Maasai giraffe. It's a species called the Maasai giraffe, found south of the equator, all the way to Tanzania. It's called the Maasai giraffe. We have about 9 species of giraffes in Africa, scattered from where I am all the way to southern Africa. Here in Kenya, we have official 3 types of giraffes, and this is the most common of the 3 and the most widespread. The last 2 are actually restricted to certain areas, and some of them are very protected, like the Rothschild giraffe. Look at the one guy to the left. I don't know what he sees, but you can tell how focused he is. I don't know what he saw in that bush. Look at that. Maybe there was a scrub here that moved slightly. Oh, yeah, one of them jumped. I don't know for what reason. But this is a very beautiful sight that I have here. Yeah, a journey of giraffes. This is an animal, stands at 19 feet tall. It's a browser, goes for a very long time without drinking. Estimated that, it can go for up to 7 years without drinking. But Rexy Jumbo giraffes, they lie down. They usually find a very flat area and very open and just lie there. Usually they're in company of others, so it's easier for one to detect dangers just in case there is something approaching them. So they do lie down. Yes, yum. Looks like that bush is really delicious. They're really loving it. The one to the middle, I would say also, she's very pregnant. We have seen quite a number of young ones. And usually this month all the way to November. End of November, we see lots of calves. And we're going to be continuing to see them because this female looks like, anytime she will be giving birth. They're quite smart, giraffes. They actually move towards the hills during the night. And then right now you can tell they just came down and they're really, really busy finding, their favorite bushes to browse on. Here I have a good ±10. It is quite common to see a sight like this. Remember, these giraffes are preyed on by lions mainly. Hyenas do take the young ones and leopards. For defense, I tell you, they can kick, a kick that is capable of dislocating a lion's jaw or even killing it. I'm going to stay here for a little bit. And while I do that, let's find out more on another safari vehicle.
Dumela, hello and welcome. Very good morning to everybody. Welcome to the wonderful Tswalu Kalahari. Fantastic looking animal here in view. It's actually standing still. Very good morning. Welcome. My name is Kyle. Behind camera is Glenn. Welcome to Tswalu. Thank you very much for joining us. Fantastic view of a southern oryx we've got over here. And it's actually a female that's standing here all by herself. It's normally a rule of thumb with males that you would find them by themselves. It is a female. Yes, it is. See, her horns were very thin and very long. But doing what they need to do now. Early morning, a little bit of grazing, a little bit of browsing, especially on those nice, delicious seed pods, and then remaining inactive. Jolly Whiskey, very nice comment there. I couldn't agree with you more. They are a very unique species in terms of visual aspect, very unique looking. I always say that they look like they're ready for war. They're ready to go into battle head first. Looks like they'll take on the world. Yeah, a very unique looking species of antelope. And if you think about Africa, you guys would have had the luxury of seeing all those beautiful species of antelope as well on the eastern part of the country. I mean, 75 odd different species of antelope that occur on this beautiful and broad continent. I mean, that is a tremendous diversity. But wherever you get vegetation, you'll have a species of antelope basically suiting itself within that vegetative group. So this guy is perfectly suited for these hot environments. So you'll see now that even his behavior is suited better to this area. So 60-70% of the day, they'll remain inactive. And they're quite active early morning, late afternoon, and then into the cover of darkness as well. But a fantastic morning it is. Got the sun just on the other side of this beautiful mountain range. And we are heading down to a pan, and we're going to see what we can scratch up this morning. We're going to take it nice and slowly. We're going to see what small things we can find this morning. And then hopefully along the lines, the mother and 3 cheetah are found. They have been MIA for a few days, but that's only typical within the Kalahari. We're going to send you to another location. We'll see you shortly.
Well, we've come to where Thandi and her son are, and they're still on site. But obviously they're down in the gully, and there's no food up in the tree. But they are eating something, so I'm assuming that one or the other dropped what was left of their daika on the ground. And so we'll just sit here for a little while and see if they don't emerge. They're both down there. It's almost impossible to see, but you can see Thandi to the left. Top left of your screen, you can just see a little bit of spot. That's Thandi. Now there's a proper dawn chorus all around us. quickly give you a list of what I can hear. I'm not going to try and imitate them all. Bearded woodpecker, tawny-flanked prineer, crested franklin, grey-headed bushwike, Cape turtle dove, black-headed oriole, emerald-spotted wood dove, black-crowned chagra, Swainson spurfowl, Natal spurfowl, Thandi snarling at her son, grey go-away bird, Angela, this little one was born in February this year, or early March, I think, early March. No, it can't have been early March. So I found him and I was here. Yeah, February. Was it February? Gosh, I've completely forgotten. All dates for me now stretch to being close to the 7th of March, which is when I got married, and I can't remember if I found him on my stint before my wedding or after. I think it was after, actually. So I think it must have been early April. End of March, early April, that's right. August, September, October. So he's, makes sense, 7 or 8 months. Just had to work that out quickly in my head again. Oh, Bill, when will Thandi's son get a name? I don't know. I simply don't know. Although there is a great deal of talk that there's a naming protocol. It really is very politically charged. It seems to follow absolutely no real pattern. So I don't know. Traditionally it was after a year, because then they had more of a chance of surviving. But then sometimes we've named them a bit earlier. It really is impossible to say. I just know that I have nothing to do with it. So when the cub gets a name, I'll start using the name. Sometimes our viewers have named a cub, and then the guides of the area have named it something else because they've thought the viewers have named it too early. Sometimes guides have named it and the viewers haven't liked the name, and sometimes I've given the name a fake name and people take offense. Sometimes people think it's funny, and there are Twitter wars. I don't know. So I want nothing to do with the naming of the cub. Once it is named, I shall accept its name.
We thought that Ribbon was moving away. Look at this. Corky's little one has been trying her luck at Ribbon's teats. No luck just yet. But also, Ribbon hasn't reprimanded her in any way for trying, which I find interesting. She's kind of just let her sniff around and then just moved. If it were Corky getting one of Ribbon's cubs, she shows them her teeth. She's been walking away from the den just maybe 50 meters and then turning around and coming back, sniffing around. So I wonder what's up. Okay, you'd like to know if Heart's cubs have moved? Nope, they're here. They're just too close to film at the moment. There we go. That one and that one, those are Heart's cubs. And the two biggest, fluffiest ones, those are Ribbon's too. And of course, you know, our small mini corky. There Ribbon goes, walking off again. Let's just see how far she goes. Oh, and now she's stopped right there. Okay, well, we can enjoy ourselves. And now she's turned around. I wonder if she's just looking for a place to lie down, or she's picked up on a scent. Look at Heart's one is chasing after her.
There's some Thandi and cubs still on site, but zero visual at the moment. They're down in the range.
Look at that. Glenn, you'd like to know if hyenas get along with any other species? They don't have a symbiotic relationship with any other species. However, not via textbooks at least, but we have seen on the show hyenas and warthogs sharing the same burrow, or at least the same termite mound. So obviously in that instance, they're not fighting. Alright, she's just gone out of my sight now. So that means I'm going to leave too. So say goodbye to these lovely ones. We can of course try a little bit later, but I think I'm very happy with our start this morning.
So here in the park we have old buffalo bulls that are really much relaxed. So sometimes, because of how hard the grass is, these animals prefer eating at night and in the early morning, and then they take to water. So they drink water twice, maybe about 30 to 40 liters each session. And then on the hotter time of the day, they'll be resting or standing like how that bull is standing, and then to just chew their cud. These bulls have been split up from the herd because of their old age, and sometimes because of that, they tend to cover small home range, which is sometimes 3 to 4 kilometers square. But when these big herds come through this home range, they'll walk over with them. So these bulls are experienced, and they once lived a hierarchy where they dominated the entire herd, be it 20, 50, or even more than 100. So when the herds come to interact with this, they always fight off those bulls that are present or walk along with the herds, because of their years of experience, how they combat the fight, and of course because of their sizes. They've lost their molars, actually wearing off, so they need a place where there's soft grass. Megan, thank you so much for your question. Sometimes they'll stomp them with their feet when they are running, but occasionally what they'll do, they'll fight off or defend themselves using their horns because of how tough, how sharp, and how thick and big these buffaloes are. So let's say, for example, it's a big herd and happen that one of the predators is taken down. So the rest of the herd, of course, because they've not seen, they'll definitely walk over. But it's not occasional that they use their feet, but they use their horns. For buffalo bull to be dominant, they have to fight a long way. And it's reckoned that it takes about 8 or even 9 to 10 years before they get the dominance or hierarchy to overrule other younger bulls within a herd. And when their time comes, when they get old, they can't really keep up the pace. They get too old or can't walk those long distances, so they remain in places where there's adequate food and water supply. So once in a while you see them walking from that home range to another just because of supply of food, and then they'll occasionally go for minerals. I've seen a certain behavior where these buffaloes will lick off the mud on the other buffalo's skin just to get some minerals. They have a high sense of hearing, sharp eyesight, and also their smelling is super tough. Once they detect something, they will walk towards the predator, and I've seen them actually advancing towards this predator to chase or scare them away. Since they're very much relaxed, I'll carry on to find more game. See if we find some lions, leopard, or even cheetah.
Good morning, welcome back. We have a little domestic dispute happening over here. We actually had these... duck my head left. We had these 3 Blackwing stilts being attacked by the blacksmith lapwing. The blacksmith lapwing was actually dive bombing the stilts. It might just be a little bit displacement for feeding. It's not uncommon when you are focused around a common food source like this over here, where birds would have to show a bit of aggression to enter and obviously have the rewards of a good feeding site. But blacksmith lapwing, you naughty little birds. How long are those legs? But that bird is designed in every means and manner to be wading within the water. Longest leg to body ratio of any other bird in South Africa. Let me just try and move for us. Oh, okay, maybe not. But really specialist when it comes to feeding on the water's edge. Still 2. Nobody else has come back. It's only been these 2 South African shell ducks remaining here. And look how they're feeding. It's one method of feeding on the water's edge. Then they also do dive feeding. So just rotating their bodies and feeding on algae and all the little aquatic plants. But they look very healthy, waddling along. Nice to see the feeding behavior like that. But no other activity here. I've just come here just to sneak in. This is my favorite spot to sneak in every morning, just to see if there's any new arrivals. But our residents are here, which is good enough. Huh? That'll be an early arrival. Black cuckoo. You guys were looking for a red-chested cuckoo the other day, which is very exciting. Clean off the legs. Clean the beak. So this pair would inhabit this body of water. They'll also breed quite close or near to water, and they like spots where there's lots of stones and rubble, that where the eggs would fit in perfectly into this uneven terrain. So it's a perfect spot for a breeding pair of blacksmith lapwings, and this is a pair currently at the pan. And that displacement behavior could have been this pair just saying, okay, we need to make sure that they know who boss is here. Really beautiful colors or beautiful patterning, let me say that. Wow. Angie, do the shell ducks migrate? So shell ducks, hence the name South African shell duck. This bird is found, there we go, Glenn's getting on there. So South African shell ducks will make small movements, known saying migrating out of the country, but they make small to localized movements. So you would have maybe in response to feeding or response to water, but hence the name South African shell duck. It's actually one of our endemic species that we have in South Africa. So small to localized movements, and it could be in response to food especially. I've heard about them making quite great treks during the night to go to grazing fields, especially crop fields that obviously farmers produce. But you could have widespread, like I said, response to rain. You could have widespread movements within the country itself.
Now, we have got ourselves into a position where we can at least see the leopard cats, and they are lying on top of a little termite mound on the banks of the gully and enjoying the rays of the sun. Early morning. It was a relatively chilly evening, so I think they're probably quite enjoying the warmth. Peacefully relaxing. Unfortunately, you will notice that there are 4 tons of sticks between us and them. And I was just saying to him, Paul, this is why you do not see a lot of nature documentaries shot in the low veldt of South Africa. Because it's very tricky to get good, clear shots on a consistent basis. It doesn't mean it isn't perfect for our purposes, because we're really enjoying exploring the lives of the animals out here. But if you're trying to shoot a blue chip documentary, it's very tricky. At least he's kind of got half his head in the open. She's totally hidden. Just lovely, isn't it? I think now is an appropriate time, while these cats sit there, for me to deliver my birthday song to Tswalu. Don't know if she told you it's her birthday. So sweet. The leopards, I mean. And so I must just quickly, for tradition's sake, sing happy birthday to Tswalu. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tswalu. I hope all the animals come to say happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. There we go. It's done. Tswalu's 29 today. Young buck. She's so impatient. In fact, every time she settles, he goes away and settles as well. And then he gets bored and he comes to play with her. And she starts hissing and snarling at him. Oh, if he starts playing with her tail, she's going to go for him. No. I mean, she was exactly the same with Talamba. 2 years ago now, when he was the sage, or when she was the sage. Seemingly impatient, but every so often she'd grab her daughter and pull her down and give her a good bath. Same as she does with this chap. No, he's going to get snarled at. It's so sweet. I guess from a human perspective, it's quite sad that their relationship will break down. It must do. That's what happens with leopards. It is inevitable because they are so solitary and they won't tolerate each other when they're adults. But it's lovely to watch while it lasts, isn't it? Sorry about that. Not sure what happened to the birthday girl or her vehicle. Probably nothing happened to her. I think that these two are going to move off at some stage. If they go to the north, which is the direction that you're basically looking north. So if they go further into the screen, you'll not be able to follow them. And that is a block that you can walk in, but you cannot drive in. They may well go east again, back into Torchwood. That has been their wont of late. She's been stashing him for months and months in the gully in front of the Torchwood camp. Torchwood's the reserve to the east of us, in case you're wondering. Come on, Thandi, lie down. Here he comes. Here comes the naughty fellow. Say hello to his mum. He will hiss at him. Oh, no, just a little head rub first, though. Oh, sweet. Look at that.
Before us mentioned, well, I noticed a big male ingwe section between Gary's and Gary Wahoo Katman.
Thank you, James, for saying happy birthday to me. I've been having a great birthday morning. Hyenas and now elephants. That's 2 off my list of 4 I have for this morning. Only a leopard and honey badger left on that list. And not just elephants, but elephants having a drink at the dam. One of my favorite things to watch and to listen to. Perfection. Thank you, everybody. Everybody's wishing me a happy birthday. Thank you so much. A last day for the stint and a birthday drive. Oh, got some playing happening here. Oh, they're just too cute. Anushka, how are you? You'd like to know if elephants will ever split from the herd? Yes. When the herd gets too large, the female can split from the herd and take with her her offspring and whoever else she likes or she has a good relationship with that would like to come with her. And she can split off from the herd. It's not because they have a bad relationship or that something has happened. Much like with lion prides, when the herd gets too large to be led by one matriarch, then they can split up. A lot of the times also, a herd will still be a herd and still be intact as a unit, but they will not necessarily spend all their time together. They will break away for certain parts of the year, come back together. So it's quite a fluid thing because the elephants in a similar area or similar home range are generally related to each other, closely or distantly. Look at those two little ones. Jonathan, that is a really interesting question. What is the survival rate of elephant twins? I don't know, but I can't imagine that it is much less than if it is just one calf, because the benefit of living in a herd and one that is so structurally or socially complex is that much like ourselves, oh, they've walked off now. Much like ourselves, they have each other to take care of the additional calf that they may not have expected. It takes a village to raise a child, it takes a herd to raise a calf. And that's because there's so much attention and so much investment in that youngster. And it doesn't necessarily have to come from the youngster's mother. So I still see them on the far end, but I think I'm going to tuck into the Mulwati and see what's happening in there.
From the elephants to a buffalo herd, we've come across a big breeding herd, and you can see that some of them are alert while some rest and some fighting, sparring. You can see those two bulls there sparring or cattle egrets following them. So these herds sometimes they fluctuate depending on social or environmental factors. Amongst this herd, we have hierarchy, we have dominance, and actually the ones leading these herds are the dominant ones. We have dominant bulls who are also lead the high-ranking females, and then on the back side or the very trailing, we have others that are lower ranking. So the feeding success also depends on the rank, because as they move on to get good grazing grounds, the ones leading get the good foliage, while the rest who are following from behind, they end up getting whatever is left over. The ones on the fringes of these herds are the ones that will be alert more than the ones in the middle or in the center. So we have dominance where it comes to who will be leading and some bulls that will be on the outskirts or on the fringes. As these herds increase, you find hierarchy goes low because we don't really see animals meeting over and over time again and again. So let's say, for example, this is about 120. So the bulls that will be high ranking, sometimes they don't get much time to meet up with the lower ranking males, which is at times an advantage to those lower ranking males. So we have calves. Sometimes the calves can be left to trail their mothers and the rest of the herd, but buffaloes play an important role when it comes to defending their kind. When the calves maybe are stranded or maybe when they're caught up by predators, when they moor or when they bleat, the rest of the herds come for their rescue, which is so nice. Oh, that buffalo has a unique kind of horn. See, one is coiled up where another one is coiled down. That is so interesting. Because it's still cool and there's dew in the grass, so there's enough supply of water, and also the grass is soft, so they'll go and drink water after when it gets a little bit warm, and then during the day they'll rest. So these herds take turn to feed maybe twice a day or thrice on the cooler parts of the day and also the night. You can see a lone elephant there. This seems like a big herd. I'm going to stick here for a little while as I send you over to another live location.
Lovely scene here. Beautiful little black-backed jackal and a southern oryx. He just came down for a quick drink. Obviously his nose guiding him to most things. Very acute sense of smell jackal have. They can pick up a carcass, the scent of a carcass from up to 1 kilometer away, if the wind direction is obviously in their favor, which is a very, very efficient tool while out here in the bushes. Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Huh? He's going vegetarian. So if there was fruits on there, he would consume fruits. In my career, I've seen jackal eat lots and lots of fruit. They're also very successful hunters, and then they can become pure scavengers in an area where it allows it. But very versatile little animal. Cunning and brave. Oh, gone. So onto these shell ducks, which are nice and closer to us now. So they do make localized movements, but one thing I didn't mention is that they also would venture into the southern part of Namibia through times. They have been recorded doing that, but they breed in South Africa. These ones obviously the offspring of parents which aren't here anymore. And those movements can be quite far. I mean, ringed shell ducks have been recorded of traveling up to 1,000 kilometers away from their ringing spot. It's a very efficient way on how we can track a bird from one spot to another. Now, obviously, we're using GPS, which gives us a very good, clear picture on how birds are moving. I read a document 2 days ago about a roller that was GPSed, and this bird went all the way to Europe, spent a couple of days in Europe, and then all the way back down through the Sahara, back all the way through the central part of Africa, all the way down to the northern parts of Namibia. That's a great trek for a bird, and you're not built, like efficiently like a swift or something. Glenn, can we get on this bird? There's a chestnut-vented tit babbler here. There he goes. Okay, never mind. Very nice little bird, but can be very tricky when they're caught because they're really good at mimicking. But these two little shelducks getting breakfast. It's just lovely just sitting here watching them. That blacksmith lapwing is causing a lot of havoc here. Glenn says he thinks that the blacksmith lapwing didn't have a good night's sleep because they are just chasing all the birds. Here come this biltback aside. Really remarkable legs. Needle-like beak that enables that bird to pinprick or pinch things from the water's edge. And with those long legs giving it a very big advantage, enabling it to wade out further or deeper into the pan. You see when it walks, it's also got semi-webbed feet. Whoa! Oh, there's the... Shame. I wonder if there could be eggs here, because it is quite a lot of aggression that's being displayed. Good possibility that there's a blacksmith lapwing nest here, but the stilts would be no, how can I say, threat to that of this eggs. Wow. He's not happy with him. Look at the head position, look at the body posture. Sure sign of aggression, along with the dive bombing and as well as the vocalizations given by the bird. Sure. But I guess that's what you got to do to be successful out here. You have to drive away competition, you have to protect your area, you have to give it your all. Back to the water we go. All right, we're going to send you off to another location on this lovely continent, and we'll see you folks later.
And that's it. Unfortunately, I think that is going to be the last we see of our leopard cats. Yeah, she's moving off. She's going down into the riverbed there. And following her down through there is going to be an utter impossibility. She settled for a while on top of the termite mound in front of us. He played a bit. She had a bit of a rest. And now I think they're packing it in. It's a pity. It will. We'll try and follow them, but I think it's going to be almost impossible. They could pitch up on the road. Do they look like they've stopped moving there, Paul? Oh, yes, they have. Gone into the shade. Maybe she just got hot. Well, I could try and go forward a little. Let me try. They're down, oh, there they go. He's on a little log. You might be able to see him. Can you see him there? He's on a log straight through there. There we go. Let's just see what he does. I don't think there's a view of that log from the other side. She's obviously just underneath it. Classic leopard sighting, this, eh? Really gorgeous stuff. I can still hear her grumbling at him. Ooze forward slightly. I can see them. No, we're not going to get a view from here. I think let's either move around back again to the other side, or we'll try down this way.
Morning, everyone. This morning we found a pair of Senegal lapwings with two little babies, and you can see them there in the grass. So welcome to andBeyond Phinda. I'm Kim. Yes, I'm Kim number 2 from Phinda. So welcome to Phinda, and we've got some really, really cute little lapwing babies. And you see how they follow mum around, and often you'll see how they go from one little scratch spot to the next. So the adult will kind of run along, scratch a little bit, and then the youngster will go to that spot as well. And if you can't quite see the coloration from here, but they've got a very white belly, and then the top of them is very speckledy, and if they were to just sit down, they'd probably look like a little rock. So they're very, very well camouflaged. And at this time of year, you'll be seeing lots of these little baby birds plus little nests around the areas, just because it's the season for lapwings specifically. You can see a nice comparison there. Now going to feed where his mum just did, or dad. Linda's saying how precious these little guys are, and I have to completely agree. Craig behind camera thought I must have seen a leopard when I pointed them out because of how excited I was. I love little lapwings. They're absolutely adorable. But it looks like they are heading into a bit of a thicker area. I'm struggling to see them a bit now. Okay, we're going to carry on with our morning and leave these lapwings to feed, and we'll be back with you a little bit later.
From the lapwings to Thandi Masai Mara, I'm on the forest edge trying to find a leopard. So this is the best place, or the nice habitat for a leopard. So Romy the leopard, I haven't seen Romy the leopard for about a week and a half. So it would be nice to see or to come across Romy. I understand she has about 2 cubs. It would be interesting to find at this time of the morning. The leopard activity is still high. So I'm still optimistic to find her. She's not shy, she's very much habituated, so if I come across her, I'm sure she'll give us a good entertainment. Or maybe we might find another leopard or the forest species. So as I carry on, fingers crossed for the leopard, I'm going to send you over to another live location.
Look at this. He's going to get himself in big trouble. Every time she lies down and settles to sleep, he comes through and he gets bored. And he insists on playing with her. And then her tail starts to go and she starts to growl and hiss at him and bare those really quite intimidating yellow fangs of hers. course, she is behind a lot of sticks, but there's not much we can do about that. Hello, Dr. Rocky Balboa. I suspect maybe you'll... Never mind what I was going to say then. You want to know if a leopard could mate with a jaguar? Well, in nature, no, it would never happen. Mainly because they are separated by the Atlantic Ocean. And unless there was a particularly excellent swimming jaguar or leopard, it is very unlikely that they would ever meet. In captivity, I suspect some morons have tried to cross them, and I don't know if they've been successful. I would suspect that it's unlikely, given the fact that they are so far distant from each other, and have been for a long time, for many tens of thousands of years. And so I don't know that it would actually work. I know that lions and tigers can be crossed, and they're all in the same genus, and jaguars and leopards are in the same genus, but whether they would be able to produce an offspring or not, I don't know. I've no doubt some idiots tried it. So if it is possible, it's probably relatively easy to find out. I'm now quite intrigued myself. There's no shortage of moronic human beings, though, who would give it a go. Rachel, the spot pattern, I'm assuming you're referring to is the spot pattern of the nose. When I refer to the spot pattern of an animal, I'm referring to its nasal spot pattern or the whisker spot pattern. And really the only way I can show that to you is with a photograph. Let me just see if I have one. I mean, I could draw it for you too, but my drawing is, well, as many people know, pretty despicable. I'll just see if I've got a nice close-up of one of their faces, and then I'll be able to show you, if the sun is not shining too brightly. Give me one moment. An moment. This one might work. Nope, that's not going to work. Just keep enjoying the leopards for now. Okay, here we go. Now, Paul, what we're going to try and do is create a picture using this camera. There's no sun on it now, so you should be able to get an idea. You might have to brighten your exposure quite a lot. I'm going to get in trouble for doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I think it's important. All right, that'll do. That's perfect. That's fine. What we talk about when we talk about the spot pattern is you can see the whisker spots, the kind of long, indistinguishable line there. And then just above that, there is a line of two spots. 1, 2. It's not going to work with my finger. Just don't move. Don't move, anybody. Let me find you I'll just describe it to you. All right, so you can see above that whisker line, you can see there are two spots. Just zoom in a bit more, Paul, if you don't mind. Yeah, that's perfect. There are two spots, and then on the other side, there are also two spots. So just next to the nose, above the whisker line. And so this young male is a 2-2 male. And you see what I mean there? Okay, that's fine. Before it gets too ugly. That's fine, and Paul, let's go back to the cats. And it's important that it's almost impossible to describe that unless you've got a picture. So You know, that's why I showed you the picture. They've gone. Can you believe it? As we were doing that, they disappeared. That is just so typical. Quickly, we better move, otherwise we're not going to see them. Absolutely classic leopard behavior. There they are, on the road behind us.
From the leopard to our lone elephant bull that is slowly grazing, you can see how beautiful this looks. Look at how he's pulling off the grass. The grass is soft, moist, and sure he's enjoying this. Bulls tend to eat more than females. As females can eat about 250 kilos, this can eat up to 300 or even more, for about 400. After the rains, the forest provided more fresh foliage, and that's why this bull was in the forest. Just listen to how he's pulling the grass. Super nice. Even though they eat lots, these bulls are super energetic, and once they walk, you can see how majestically they walk, but they are very low, super speed. They can actually bolt for about even 50 kilometers an hour. This forest provides them with very good foliage, and you can see that right there, the elephant pepper tree. Sometimes they'll peel off the barks of these trees for nutrients and even water. Tswalu, thank you so much for your question. Tusks never fall out like teeth. They're actually super solid. But sometimes when these elephants fight, especially the bulls, they might break off, but they never fall off. They carry on growing as these elephants age, especially in bulls. You find the older, sometimes the longer the tusk. But sometimes we've come across elephants with no tusk at all, but that is just like genetic. You find that some might have teeth, some might not have, because these are modified upper incisors, so they will not fall off like normal teeth. Sometimes these bulls will be loners, sometimes they will be in a group of bachelor boys. Amy, thank you for your question. Elephants will sleep standing. Sometimes they will lie down to sleep, and they can feed about 18 to 16 hours a day, but they take turns during the hot time of the day to sleep while they're standing. So you'll find an elephant maybe next to a tree, standing. That's when sometimes they take rest to sleep. So elephants are mixed grazers. They'll graze on the grass they'll eat on the leaves. And sometimes you see them breaking branches to get to the top foliage of the trees, and also peeling off the bark. There's some seeds from trees that don't germinate very well, but when they go through the stomachs of these pachyderms, the enzyme help in taking over the cask of these seeds. And that is very important because these elephants help in seed disposal and also help in afforestation. Because on the elephant dung, sometimes after the rains, you'll see small shoots of trees growing. So I'm sure during the afternoon, the elephants coming in to join or to graze in this forest Renee, thank you for your question. These grasses are sweet and offer protein for these animals. And some of the foliage are also very good because their nutrition, especially on the bark of the trees. That's why you see elephant, as we drive along the forest, you see that some of the trees have been peeled off the bark, and it's because of these elephants. They peel that because they want more nutrition in their diet, so they need more nutrition also in their bodies. So that's the reason why they peel off. And these grasses offer a high nutrition for most animals, including elephants. So I'm still going to carry on with my mission to find Romy as we leave this elephant to carry on with his feeding. I hope it will be a success. I'm just going to drive slowly. Okay, let me just change position as it seems not to walk into the forest. I will just change position for a better view. You can see him urinating there. Seems like he was digging for mineral or for salt. Look at his right tusk, is full of mud. And sometimes when elephants need other nutrition, you'll see them bending their knees and go on the ground to dig for soil. And that is why I always say these animals are very, very important. They provide path routes. They also provide mineral sources for other animals who come. Wherever these elephants have dug for salt or minerals, other animals will utilize that. So I'll just leave this elephant and carry on to find Romy or maybe something else as I take you over to another live location.
We are on the move now. Here's the little boy. His mother's just walked behind us. She's going down the road. She's done 2 territorial markings and 1 enormously relieving, well, you know, also serving as a territorial marking, of course. Come on, you're getting lost. There she is. She's just down the road there. And he's being obstinate. If you don't catch up, she'll leave you. And then what? Now, I can't move right now because I don't want to give him a fright. And I don't know if she's intentionally left him here or if he's just being an idiot by not following her. He's just sitting behind us. Come on. Hey, move it. Paying no attention whatsoever. Okay, let me just move very slowly. I'll go forward rather than back. Now, you see? There he goes. I think she's left him here on purpose. She gave a little growl as she went. And so I think what's happened is that he is going to wait here for her. So let's follow her. We can't stay with him if he's not with Mum. And so let's leave him, because the closer we are to him, the more nervous he's likely to be of us. And the closer we are to her, well, you know, we'll just follow her. There we are.
Our elephant has gone next to the tree, and actually it's very interesting because he's knocking off and pushing the tree for the seeds to fall down. You can see that tree is actually bent. You can tell from continual rubbing and push over by this elephant. And as you look at the trunk, you can see that the bark has been peeled off, and that is the reason why these elephants love foraging or browsing in the forest area, because their tusks come in handy when it comes to peeling off the barks of these trees. Just next to the tree on the ground there, it's not being grazed, and these elephants will use this. Sometimes they walk over here over a regular basis to come and eat that grass. There's not so many species come here in the forest other than buffaloes because of predation. But you have other antelope species like the bushbucks who will be seen in the forest area. We call these elephants keystone species because as they're browsing or walking through feeding, thank you so much for your question. These elephants will use definitely their tusk for self-defense, and the bigger the tusk, the more heavy these bulls can be. Sometimes you find they'll clash over and knocking off other younger bulls or for defense and also for dominance. Yes, they'll use these tusks for defense. Because he's knocked or pushed the tree for the fruits to fall down, baboons will come and utilize that. Other antelopes will come still. So I call these the keystone species because other than them sometimes being called destroyers of trees and the environment, they also provide food for and pathways for other animals within these ecosystems. You can hear monkeys and baboons fighting over in the forest. So I'm going to leave this bull and I'm going to take you over to another live location.
Well, here I am with my dazzle and topi all gathered here in the long grass in a place we call LY Plains. These are but last of the migrating herds of zebra that have reached here, and looks like they're really concentrating on something that I haven't found, I've been looking for. The young guy passing in front is a young topi, and there comes the adult mother. Looks like he's gonna catch up with the young one, make sure it doesn't get lost amongst the others. It's a beautiful scene set here by these animals, most of them grazing and happy to be alive this morning. Some of the adult zebras are really focused on something behind me. I haven't seen what it is, but I'll be checking to see what it is. The butcher zebra is the common zebra that we find here, also called the common zebra, and they amount to around 500,000 during migration. Around this area there's a good couple of hundreds. The topi is a resident who is found here, the Serengeti and other parks, but not very many places. The young guys of the topi were born in September, but they will continue giving birth until late this month is when they give birth. Look at how the zebra is focused on something. Remember, their senses are all good: sight, smell, and hearing, and they normally have to take a really good look at something before warning the others by a snap that is quite loud, and everybody usually gets very alert and looks in the same direction to focus and find out what is the threat, and then they head out. Yeah, the white and black, they say it's an adaptation that actually animals that don't see color can have a difficulty in figuring out or picking one particular animal when they're all together. I don't know that's how it could be because I'm not colorblind, but for sure, if you look at those zebras together there, if you didn't see color and you couldn't pick out one, you'd see one big object, but when you run towards them, then they go in different direction. They would really, really confuse you. That is the main purpose of these colors. They disrupt the eye to focus on one particular animal when they're all together. Also, it is said that the two colors, black and white, the white deflects the light, so they don't get really hot, and the black attracts the heat, so it can warm up. So they can actually regulate their body temperature using the black and white. So it's another adaptation that they have. These animals are mainly hunted by lions, leopards, and sometimes hyenas, but for defense it can bite, really bite, and also can kick, and the kick is much more lethal than the bite. They go in groups called dazzles of one stallion and a few mares and their foals, and here looks like there's a good number of dazzles that have come together to form one big dazzle, and they're busy at peace grazing. Maybe it's accumulating some energy that they'll need to get them to the next step of their life, which could be the river, or maybe a very, very, very long trek towards a Tanzanian border, because that's where they are headed. Yeah, these two animals, the topi and the zebra, do migrate. The zebra amounts around 500,000. It's a lot of animals when you see them. It's just unbelievable. The topi amounting to around 20 to 30,000. Yes, 20 to 30,000, very many. But here we do see a handful of them. Looks like that one there, the topi, could be giving birth in the next few days or weeks. She's very, very heavy, as you can see. Usually it's very hard to see them because they lie down, and within 15 minutes they're already given birth, and within half an hour the little guy has to be up on their feet, because as soon as you are on your feet, the higher the success rate of survival you have. So they have to get really up on their feet and then get out of the area where you've left the afterbath. Move around 100 meters, lie down to regain energy for the little ones. The mother will suckle them, stick with them for a little bit, then start moving. And within 1 hour to 1.5, they're already too fast to be caught by anything that is not, in need of catching something. So if you're a sprinter, you won't get them if you're not very close. But the main predator is cheetah and hyenas. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. Looks like some of the zebra are coming towards me. It's really, really nice. Some of them are watching me, also quite cool. The weather is just beautiful. Yeah, this is a beautiful scene set here by these animals. I hope you are enjoying seeing them wag their tails and heads and enjoy the long grass. Well, I'm gonna take a look what is behind where everybody was looking, and while I do that, let's take you to another safari vehicle.
Here we are with Thandi. Everything is very settled now. She's left the cub back where we were. He's probably playing on his own, and it was a very clear instruction to him to stay here and leave me alone, because she's been trying to do this all morning. In other words, nothing. She's been trying desperately to get some peace and have a snooze, and now she said enough's enough. She's left him alone. So moved him away from, I suppose, the potential smells of the kill. And I don't know if she particularly chose a spot because it was safe, but I think she just decided that he'd be okay there and she was going to have some time to herself. That's what she's doing. Remember that they don't sleep like we do, and so although she's on her own and she's separated herself from the cub, this is a very effective spot for her to be should something come past, like a Ngala or a duiker, and she'll take the opportunity to kill it if she can. And that's why her head will pop up again and again as she snoozes. Constantly aware and careful about what's around. In the background you can hear the yellow red-chested cuckoo. Well, we're going to sit here probably for another 10 minutes or so. If she doesn't move, then we'll carry on. Otherwise, well, we'll just see what she does. Sorry about that. Phinda is clearly not ready to receive you right now. Signal-wise, it's not Phinda, of course. It's just a tech problem. Nothing's changed here. Everything is as it was. Thandi observing from the relative vantage of a riverbank with a little termite mound on it. Maybe it's not a termite mound, it's probably just the riverbank, actually. I was just saying to Paul how it really affects me to think how many times I've driven past a leopard when they're lying like this. Because if you're driving past and you just happen to look the other way at the wrong moment, you're going to miss them. And I think that must happen a lot. You'll notice the sounds of the morning have changed. We've got the Cape turtle dove. It's a lot quieter, and also a white-bellied sunbird calling. In a scotia tree not too far from here. So sounds like a tawny flanked prunier. But much quieter than it was an hour or so ago. The hornbills, which are always this time of the day.
So we have finally found this pride of lions that we've been looking for all morning. And we found them, what you see now are the 4 cubs of the pride. You can see it comes up quite nicely on the camera, those beautiful markings on their bellies. This front one, you can see the markings along his legs and belly. That just shows that, a little yawn and up they're getting to go again. Shows that they're a bit young, especially seeing as the mums aren't around for a size comparison, but you can see they've got quite big feet and big ears, almost a little bit out of proportion compared to when they grow into them. The mothers have carried on walking just around the corner there, but these little cubs with their round bellies are quite keen to just lie down and rest. You can see, there we go, a few steps and then down again. But they won't let the 2 lionesses get too far away. They'll keep following at a good distance. But I think that they've been feeding kind of all night long, and now they're on the move again, maybe going to look for some water. Okay, see how the cub's ears are all kind of facing backwards, listening to myself and the other noises behind them. Marianne, no, they would not be curious enough to jump into the jeeps. But young lions do tend to be more curious than the older lions. Obviously, they're a little bit less familiar with vehicles, so they do tend to give you a little bit more attention. Maybe just looking at the car a bit more than what the older lions would. But no, they wouldn't jump into the car. They don't know whether or not we're a threat, and they're just still trying to work that out. But jumping into the vehicle, I think, wouldn't be beneficial for us especially, but also not for them. So no, I don't think they would do that. I have had experience with young cubs kind of following the wheel of a vehicle because they're seeing the movement and they're quite interested in what that is. But further than that, no, they wouldn't jump into the vehicle. We also find with little groups or litters of cubs, there's always one who lags behind. So lions, Brandon's asked me how often lions need to hunt. Lions generally will hunt kind of every 2 to 3 days. They can go for almost up to a week without eating though, so if they're struggling to find food, they can last quite a while, but they can also hunt pretty often. And interestingly enough, with prides that have cubs, they'll sometimes actually hunt more often than they need to. So they could have very, very full bellies, but the mothers will still hunt and take down animals, and that's just to help the cubs practice hunting. So they may take down an animal, not kill it completely, and they'll let the cubs jump on it and try suffocate it. So that's just development for later on. I think we're going to try and follow these lions now. I think they've just headed around the corner.
I'm back, and we're just about to crest over this lovely sand dune, and look at that view, folks. Myself and Glenn are still trying to locate these lovely cats. That it is a very vast area, and not following up on them for the past couple of days, their movements are obviously a little bit hard to pick up, but we do have some help. We've got some help from our tracking team. Tswalu obviously operates with a guide and tracker team, and we have got some very experienced and very skillful trackers that have been tracking in the Kalahari sands for a long time. It comes down to one's knowledge about track identification, but very importantly, it comes down to the time that you spend within the area. Local knowledge is key. So some of the trackers have been here for a couple of years, and they'll show you things in the sand that will actually mind melt you. To think about how somebody knows from this little disturbance, it was this animal doing this, feeding here, chasing that. It's really remarkable. So we are going to be turning a bit more further south, and we're going to search in the southern part of here to see if we can't pick up on those tracks. We're going to send you off to another location. See you shortly.
Everybody, sorry about that. We were looking at white-bellied sunbirds and crested barbets, but as you know, they don't wait around for anybody. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today, as usual, is Sebastian Rombi, and we are here at Pridelands, which is part of the Tswalu Game Reserve also forms part of the greater Kruger ecosystem. We've seen a cool few things today on the smaller side, and spider hunting wasps, some dragonflies and all sorts of other little beetles and things. So it's really nice to see them. Love to do a bushwalk here. I haven't done a bushwalk in ages. And all the new grasses and new plants, hopefully the flowers will follow soon. But I'm actually lost, as in I don't know where to search for the wildlife anymore. I have not seen pretty much down the boundary. I did hear lions calling last night in the distance, but they must have been just out of our trip. So I'm going to try and find a breeding herd of elephants that have been lingering around, but they've changed their route so much I can't keep up with them, and I don't know where on earth they will be. Let's do a loop around here. There's normally a colony of dwarf mongoose that also like to hang around here. There's lots of forest and trees that you can see, which creates nice safety spots. I'm sure all the hawkers, all the insects have come creeping out of the holes in the wood too. It's going to be a warm day. We will hope that we can find something. And then we'll try and visit the hyena den that's on this road. Whether or not anyone will be there, I'm not sure. I don't know if they've flooded the den out, and maybe they've actually moved to another termite mound.
So from Taylor back to here in the Masai Mara, where we've come across these vultures that are resting. Look at their crop filled up. Some of them actually have eaten so much such that you can see their crops protruding. It's very, very interesting. Looks like they are actually feeding somewhere on a carcass there. Looks like a wildebeest carcass. So this is the territory where I was trying to find Romy. And I'm not quite sure if she's the one that made the kill, or maybe lions. But because this is too close to the bush, I'm suspecting it might be the leopard that made the kill. And they only came in before. Or maybe something spooked the leopard before it took it up a tree. And because the leopard has 2 young cubs, maybe they were just eating on the ground and then walked into the bushes there. So we have about 2 species of vultures. We have the Ripple's griffon vulture, we have the African white-backed vulture, and some of them look like they've already been full or already eaten, and now they're using what we call the sun to warm their feathers, because it's still too cold for some of them, and their feathers are still wet and heavy, so they can't really fly off right now that much. See them preening, cleaning themselves. Warren, thank you for your question. Vultures are not hunters. They can't go for live prey. They only scavenge. But if there's an opportunity, especially when an animal is lame and has scars and almost dying off, I've seen vultures landing on a big hippo who was fought off by another dominant bull, had scars all over the face. So these vultures landed on his face and started eating from the eyes and on the big wounds that he had. So that is the only time you can see vultures get on an animal, but not that they can kill. They only scavenge. So look at those crops. The one to the left actually has a fully protruding crop. It's reckoned that these vultures can fill up their crops within 20 minutes. We have a number of vultures, so the population of vultures here is high. So if they locate a prey or a carcass, they'll all swarm into that particular area, and they have to eat as much as they can to fill up their crops. So another advantage they wait until the thermals start warming up, and they use the thermals to soar up in the air. As I wait and watch these vultures preening and cleaning themselves, let me send you over to another live location.
Well, here I have one big eagle. It is the Marshall eagle, our largest eagle here in the Mara, and also second strongest. Gonna fly, take off. Are you gonna pick up something? Look at that. How amazing is that? Just gonna fly over me. Yeah, he's just flying really low, and he has disappeared off to my left. I don't know where he's heading, but yeah, he's over there to our left. Just flown quite a distance, heading towards maybe another tree. He's way up there. He's gone quite a long way. This is a bird that is capable of bringing down a guinea fowl, a young warthog, a scrub hare, monitor lizard, sometimes very big snakes, and it is very, very, very strong. It is very nice to see these many birds of prey nowadays, and the one positive thing is that the Conservancy hasn't been burning grass for the last almost 10 years, so it means there is a lot of mice, a lot of birds, a lot of snakes, a lot of grasshoppers, a lot of frogs for all these raptors, which is a very positive thing, and they are coming back in very big numbers. Here I am in the middle of nowhere, a place called LY Plains. It is a very long way from where I have been in the last week, and over here I'm looking for cats. Not anyone in sight, but I have company of zebras, wildebeest. These are last few. They've been gathered very close to our area for quite a while, but they have moved here, and these are just the draggers, the ones that are still heading back towards the Serengeti. It's just a beautiful scene that I have here of wildebeest, zebra, but I'm gonna continue on slightly further, see if I can find a cat. But remember, continue talking to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. And send those positive vibes this way so we can find a cat before the end of show. So I'm gonna continue. And as I do that, let's take you to another live safari vehicle.
We have found a little dwarf mongoose. Looks like a straggler. I can't see any others around. It also looks a little wet. What have you been getting up to? You still making your way home from your party last night? Isn't it a cutie? Look at your pink nose. You can see how wet it is. Perhaps it was having a bit of fun in the nearby puddles. Now, even though it is a straggler, like I said, I haven't seen any others around. There's a little hole where it's standing or thereabouts, and it can go in there and pop out somewhere else on the other side of the road or on the western side of this mound. Whole lot. Whoa! I see another little head popped out, BK, bottom right. Bottom right, yeah, of the mound. There you go. Where did you go? They're blending in so nicely at the moment. So they have a whole network of tunnels that they can use. Sometimes there's a little hole that'll pop up on the road. And you think, oh no, if I drive through I might hit it. But no. Louis, you think the dwarf mongoose is coming up to get some birthday cake? And I'm going to disappoint you, dwarf mongoose. You're only going to get birthday yogurt pot at this point. It's all I have to offer you. Unless you have some birthday cake for me. I'll take birthday cake any day. Birthday cake is the best cake. Cake in general. Now I think I'm more into insects, arthropods, that kind of thing. I'm quite sure that they don't have the type of sweet tooth that is shared by James and I. Kelly, you'd like to know how old this dwarf mongoose is? I have no idea how old it is. Sometimes when you see them together, you know, the whole lot of them together, then you can have a good estimate or a good visual idea of who is older than others, because in the size difference it's quite stark. But I can't age a dwarf mongoose. They can live for quite a long time, anything from about 12 to sometimes even 18 years. So they live for quite a long time considering their size. But I can't say I've seen one that looked old, but I have definitely seen one that looks young. For example, this other one that's just popped its head out, all the way at the bottom of the mound. If PK can see him. Oh, you're just behind that branch. That one looked a little bit smaller, the head, than this big guy here. So cute. It looks as if they're looking for the rest of their business. They're not even very concentrated on us or focused on us. They're more focused kind of beyond us. And they're making very soft sounds, contact calls. BK, can we just see this one's popped out a little bit more? See, its head's just a little bit smaller than the other one. But only when they're together can you have that comparison. I'm going to sit with them a little bit longer, see if any others pop out.
All right, one of these beautiful signs left behind, the tracks and signs in this beautiful red earth is always such a treat. And stopping and observing them and trying to understand who's left them behind is also such a nice challenge, especially for a guide or tracker or just even a naturalist. You on holiday in the African bush, it's always really nice to pick up these little details as you go along. But something that we stopped by, we just want to show you folks quickly, this beautiful little pattern here in the beautiful sand. So looking at it over here, you can see the shadow of the opening is casting a little bit of a dark spot over here, but this is an opening. It looks like a slit. It's about that wide, the opening itself, and it's about 3.5 centimeters in width, the actual width of the opening itself. And then you can see all the soil has been moved out here. It says like constant wave, almost like a little bulldozer pushing the soil out from the burrow entrance, so obviously from the burrow itself, out the burrow entrance, and then depositing here at the entrance itself. There's 9 different species of these incredible little arthropods here on Tswalu, and a very important role player being obviously predator and prey for multiple species. So this is a burrow that's been created from a scorpion. Scorpions are really active more under the cover of darkness, and you get species which are sand burrowing, just like this one over here. This individual would have used its mouth, its chewing mouth parts, in order to create this tunnel that leads into a little chamber where the animal can reside in, and then using its pincers, or its pincers, to push this soil back out over here. But really nice. This is it's not a very big one. We get ones that are almost double this size. We get very, very dangerous species here called Parabuthus granulatus, and it's obviously of high medical importance. If one is stung by one, you need to seek medical attention. But really nice to see these beautiful keyhole openings. I like to refer them to as keyhole openings. And then with this soil that's been deposited in the front here is evident of scorpion. We're going to send you off somewhere else, and we'll see you later.
These animals' timing is absolutely remarkable. We've been sitting with this little elephant calf while you've been looking at lots of other interesting things around the continent, and as it is decided that it is his moment to shine, he steps behind a termite mound. Anyway, his whole family is around here, spread out quite widely. Let me just drive a little bit forward. It's so typical. He's been standing perfectly. There we go. It's not the best elephant shot. Let me go a bit forward because Mum's just up ahead as well. fact, there's one further up that we'll look at. The day has just turned into the most perfect temperature. Lovely thick clouds interspersed with blue sky and shafts of sunlight. It's gorgeous. Now here's a huge big herd of elephants. While we drive, I must just tell you, because I know that some of you are cat people and some of you are dog people, I've just read an interesting thing about the brains of cats and dogs. And apparently a dog has about 530 million neurons in its brain. That's a big number. A cat has got 250 million neurons in its brain. Now, you can read into that what you will. I've no doubt the cat people are now furiously trying to find ways to justify the fact that their cat's definitely cleverer than a dog. My mother is one of those people. But while you're having that thought or argument, consider the following. The human being has 89 billion neurons in its brain, and the elephant has 250 billion neurons in its brain. So an elephant has got 1,000 times the number of neurons that your average moggy has. Interesting, eh? And for those of you who haven't been present during our discussions on intelligence and brain size and all of that, because we tend to rehash these discussions quite frequently because they're very interesting. Number of neurons or brain size really doesn't necessarily mean outright intelligence, otherwise elephants would be cleverer than us and they would be sending rockets to Mars. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd be clever enough not to think that was a good idea. Anyway, it's got a lot more to do with the ratio of brain size to body and the number of neurons and the size of different kinds, different proportions or different pieces of the brain, different parts of the brain. So, just interesting. I make no judgment either way. It would be a foolish man that made a judgment on this platform on the relative merits of dogs or cats. Dear Watcher, yes, they do. Oh, look at this bit of gardening going on here. I'm just going to sneak slightly forward while I answer this question. The camera on the elephant. Dear Watcher, elephants will fight with hippos, or certainly challenge them, if elephants want water that hippos are in and water is limited. And we certainly saw that during the big drought here in the summer of 15-16, because up near the dam cam there was a pan of water. It was the last bit of pumped water in the area, and there was a big fat hippo that sat in the middle of it, and he was surrounded quite often by 6 buffalo. And they would all just lie there in the blinding heat and the last water, and animals would come down and try and drink while they were sitting there. And the elephants often used to come and chase the lot of them out and then have their drink. So yeah, when there's competition for water especially, they can fight, but it's really not common. You wouldn't see it now. It would be highly unlikely that you'd see it now. Unless, say, a hippo stumbled into a herd of elephants one night. It's difficult for the hippo to be so gormless, but it might be possible. And then if the elephants got enough of a fright, they might chase the hippo. But it wouldn't be common. I think we'll just sit with these elephants in this gorgeous warmth and see what happens.
Another very, very big cobra. Look at it. Look how shiny it is. It's a snake. A very large Cape Cobra. On the move. This one Glenn owns. He's the one who spotted this one. And look how the scales are shining off this beautiful animal's body. That's how Glenn spotted it. just with the light coming off the scales, producing a very easy, well, if you don't know what you're looking for, target to see. But we're in a very open area, and this snake is moving towards the road, so hopefully we can get a great view of it. Look at how it is moving, folks. Wow. This has been a very productive couple of days with the amount of snakes that we've seen. It's not always the case. Obviously, this period is the correct period for them to be finding mates, and that's why they move or are moving around so much at this given point. But it's another pale morph. Really nice. So once again, just tasting or smelling the ground. It's following a fairly distinct route. Yeah, it is a very big one. My word. I'm just going to move the car, I think, Glenn, just to the other side. If you folks can just hold in 2 seconds. I'm just going to reposition the car for us. Yay! I'm so happy that you guys are excited to see the Cobra. Watching this animal like this is such a treat. It's not often you get to see a snake, and if you do, it's either a fleeting glimpse or it's tucked up in the bush somewhere that you don't really get to get a great view of it. But here we are very lucky at this given point. Yeah, just give me 1 second there. I think it's just on the... Linda, would eagles attack the cobra? Yes. Some eagles are snake specialists, where their behavior and their morphological structure is best suited at catching these very fast and very poisonous snakes. You get a bird called the secretary bird, very unique hunting behavior, actively looking for, multiple prey items, but would also take a look. It's trying to go up the tree, guys. On the side there, Glenn. Whereas a secretary would take a snake like this out by stomping on it. Very unique hunting behavior displayed by birds. So yeah, a few birds definitely would snack on a snake like this. It's in the middle, Glenn. It's in the middle. Oh, guys, look at this. What is it doing? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is what we wanted. We wanted going up in the tree, and we are seeing this. It's coming down the tree. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just very excited. It's a nice yellow one. So the other day we saw one which was very pale, almost like a pale yellow. This is a nice, rich yellow color. Oh, my word. Oh, my word, it's a snake. How lucky are we? So it could be following scent left behind by a female snake, or it could be actively hunting. What has there ever been albino cobras? I know within some snakes, like your pythons and your constrictors, there is albino, which is a light, what we refer to as leucistic versions. With cobras, I really don't know. In a natural state like this, I'm really not too sure. That's a question I'm going to have to ask Tilo. If there has been a recording, I don't think there's in Tswalu, we would have heard about it, but if there has been recordings across the board of South Africa about albino Cape cobras, I'm really taking a shot in the dark, and I'm really not sure. But once again, really good question, because it would be it would be something that happens every now and then. But that'll be also like a recessive gene held by both parents, and then more than likely by both parents, and then it obviously producing one. Just go to the left there, Glenn.
I think it's gone down a hole.
I don't think so.
I think it's gone down a burrow.
Oh, okay. Glenn thinks it's gone down a burrow. We're going to hold here for you guys, and we'll let you know as soon as something happens. We're going to send you off to another location, and we'll see you now.
Yeah, it looked like it disappeared, eh?
Okay.
Well, snakes are always interesting to watch, but here I have a predator, and one of the most successful predators here in the plains of Masai Mara. I'm talking about the spotted hyena. This is a lone female. I've come across him, and he looks like he did something very wrong. He's just very wary. He's just looking around like something is not right. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if he got lost or he's in another clan's territory and he can smell them, and so he's very, 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 very worry. We call this situation in Kiswahili, which is our local national language, wasi-wasi. He's got a lot of wasi-wasi, and looks like, he did something very wrong. You see, he's just looking around. This is a behavior portrayed when they are in other clans' territory. They can smell a lion. They're not, something is not right. Remember, they can defend themselves. They have very strong jaws, and not sharp, but the jaws can help them really cut something tough, like an elephant skin that has been dry for months out in all types of weather conditions. So they can defend themselves, and also they can run really, really fast. It's a beautiful setting, because if you didn't know he was there, you will never notice him. He's amongst those rocks. But there is some noises you could hear going choo-choo, 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 choo-choo. Those are white-faced whistling ducks. And here I have one big flock that are very, very busy fishing. Look at how interesting they do this. They just dive down, and it's a little bit hilarious because they leave their backsides up, exposed, while their head is buried deep in the water. Looks like a swamp mohen moving over there with the red legs. Yeah, look at them, how they dive. Bungay will share that with you. Yeah, that is, looks like a swamp mohen. Look at how they dive and leave their backsides up in the air, trying to reach for worms, mollusks under the water. That's what they are reaching for. It looks like there's plenty of something underneath here, and that's what they're feeding on. Look at They're really quite loud at the same time, very busy. It's a busy situation here. Everybody's trying to get as much as possible, this morning. White-faced whistling ducks, and they do whistle and can be very, very, very noisy. You can hear that? No. It's pee 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 pee. Yeah. This looks like a creek. Yeah. Black creek, sorry. That's what it is. Confirmed, yes. And he's very busy feeding on small little insects. That's what he's looking for. There must be very many of them. Laura Moore, thank you for your question. These are lilies. Lilies, water lilies we call them, and they can be very, very wide. enough, for a small bird to walk on top of the lily. You can tell that, they're wading, actually. They're walking on top of those lilies. And there seems to be lots of little creepy crawlies or, insects amongst those lilies. And so he's very busy. Yeah. Oh, quite a good number of them now. The black cracks, really very busy. And our more, white-faced whistling ducks are also still very, very busy. They haven't left us. They're usually very localized, very widespread, found everywhere in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. And in this water, they're always here. Are they there? Yes, there they are. You have to really know where you're looking. They're very busy. They're not doing what they were doing earlier. So it just seems like whatever they're feeding on could be a creeper that is underneath the water. And so they just don't have to really dive deep. Okay, I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer, see what happens. Let's take you to another safari vehicle.
Jumbo and welcome to this other side of the Mara, where we have a mix of two species. So we have impalas and we have baboons. Impalas will like or love following baboons, especially when they're foraging, because when the fruits are ripe, baboons will be going up on trees. When they're eating those fruits that drop down, these antelopes get an advantage of eating. And then when it comes to security, the baboons give a heightened alert when they see predators, and this can alert these antelopes or impalas. You can see a lone topi there. So these three species actually have come here because there's a place where they're looking for salt, minerals, and also it's a good forage site. See the baboons basking there. So these baboons play an important role when it comes to security, and also when they're moving from one place to another, they also help in seed dispersal because they eat a lot of seeds from the trees. So these baboons own up some territories which can overlap other baboons' territory, and when they walk across this territory, they have to search for water and good grazing grounds. See the baboons and the antelopes there are not worried at all. Baboons are omnivorous. Sometimes they can eat meat and they can take on plant. Sometimes those small antelopes can fall prey to the big baboons. I've seen a case where a high-ranking male took a young impala and ate by himself. So this is actually very important when you find two species together, coexisting together, because of security and because one gets advantage of the other as they are feeding. Right just below that tree we have another troop of baboon, but this is the same troop, only an extension. Some will walk to a different area but still be alert. See those two actually feeding on some fruits there and super playful. Young males sometimes will be mischievous, they'll fight to each other, and because of also the hierarchy, the ones from the higher ranking family will also bully the rest of the troop members. So young males will always... This troop seems like it's enjoying the sun while there's some fresh fruits that are popping from the trees. So I'm going to sit here and enjoy this sighting because I can see lots of young ones there. and see the interaction between these two species as I take you over to another live location.
The timing, again, absolutely spectacular. We've had a gorgeous close-up sighting of this bull elephant, and he's now, as he was told that he's going to be on TV, he decided he'd hide behind a bush. Never mind. Here he is again. It is off to the left. This chap's being very confiding though. He's got no worries with being around us at all. And you can hear the red-chested cuckoo. There's a slightly bigger cow coming down. And they're sort of feeding up and down the riverbank here, where the grass is nice and green and long and lush. She's a bit older than the bull. I hope you can hear that. I think you've probably got to have quite good speakers. They are talking to each other now. Yep, Alan, they certainly are used to us being around in this part of the world. It's because they see so many vehicles. The Sabi Sands as a safari destination has been in existence for in excess of 30 years now. And so the animals have very quickly got used to, or not very quickly, but over the years got used to being around cars. And in general, they get on with their lives as though we aren't here, to a greater or lesser extent. The wilder the area you go to, the less that is the case. So, and it also depends on the animal. If you pitched up in a remote part of Chad and saw a lion that had never seen a person before, it would run like the wind. It wouldn't take very long for a lion, however, to habituate, but a leopard, it'll take forever to habituate, unless you really make a concerted effort, whereas lions will just eventually get used to you. So it just depends on how wild the area is. This cow has... It depends, certainly with elephants, on their experience. So if they've had a nasty night, let's say they've had a stressful time, lions have harassed them, or a big bull in must has harassed them, then they won't be this relaxed. But this particular herd has obviously had a very chilled out evening, equally chilled out morning, and they're very comfortable with us being around them.
Well, not far from my interesting pool of birds and hyena, I've come across this herd of wildebeest that are saying goodbye to me because that is Tanzania in a distance. This area is called the Nine Hills or Eiselbergs, 9 Eiselbergs. As you can see, there's those cone-shaped hills that are dotting this border side of the beautiful Mara Triangle, and in a distance, as far as your eye can see, that is the mighty Serengeti. And here, wildebeest are headed back. We still have a good number of heads, back there, but these ones looks like they're heading down there. The grass is much shorter here because there was a fire that started out in the Serengeti and, burnt all its way up here. Most of the trucks that we drive on usually act as fire breaks, and so it was stopped by one of the trucks. Those are the wildebeest saying goodbye. And as you can see, on the frame there, down there, looks like little ants. All those are wildebeest, and they're heading back. I'm sure they will stick here for a couple of days because there is plenty of grass back there. It wasn't burnt. And then they'll continue on. But sometimes they are very interesting. They might end up turning back, back into the conservancy. This area is, very, very far from anything that I know. There is no, any kind of buildings. This area is just wilderness, pure wilderness, and it's a sight to see. Oh, what do we have there? Oh, we have a few hyenas. This could be one of the clans, either Happy Zebra, because they're the ones that reside this side, and looks like somebody is not really welcome. They usually try to bite the hind legs, and you can tell he is trying to say, I mean no trouble, I'm heading away from you guys. Yeah. Definitely, it could be a low-ranking member of the clan, and they're trying to really show him that, Miss Hap, you ask how long hyenas live for? Yeah, not very long, about 12 to 15 years. That's how long they live. So it is an animal that doesn't live very long, but it does have a very good life because there is always food, and it's one of the most successful predator in these plains. All this food, it's the only predator that can actually decide that it's going to eat, and it will chase its prey down until the prey is exhausted, and then they usually kill it very ruthlessly. Animals usually dies of losing parts of its body, either blood or internal organs. That's how it dies. I don't know where they're headed, those ones chasing each other, but I'm gonna stick here a little bit because another clan member might come to rescue him. So while I do that, let me take you to another live safari vehicle.
A second snake. A second snake is following the trail of the first snake exactly to the T. Now look at this one. This one is yellow, but look at the speckling and mottling on this animal's body. And it is following the exact path, because I've walked around just to see the tracks, and I marked with my stick where the track was, and that snake has just crossed over the exact mark on where the first snake has moved. It's moving like a train track exactly to the T. But this is incredible to see this, guys.
I've seen it once in my career, and that's on Tswalu, where one snake has moved, and another snake has followed exactly the same trail. But this is really, really special to see. So more than likely, this is a mating pair. The first one could have been a female, laying down a nice pheromone trail, and now this male is picking up the scent of this female. Oh, Luna, what is the most prominent colour for Cape Cobras in Tswalu? I would have to say, the golden yellowy colour would have to be the most prominent, but they are so varied. I mean, all the snakes that we have seen in the past couple of days have been all different colour schemes. So it is a varied colour scheme, but I have to say that yellow, goldeny colour is the more prominent colour displayed on Tswalu. This is just radical. You can see where the snake goes off the trail and it turns itself back very quickly to set itself back on that scent trail. Oh my word. And the first snake went down a hole at the base of this tree. And I'll put my money on it that this snake is going to go down exactly the same hole. Here it comes. Oh my word. So yeah, this snake is just following the trail. I'm sure it's going to go down here now, which would be pretty amazing to see. It's you can see the tongue flicking in and out. It's definitely picking up the scent left behind. Here it goes. Watch, it's going to go into the tree, more than likely the same route that first snake went. Wow, incredible to see this, guys. Look at that color. Around the tree, and more than likely going to go up in the fork over here now. Trying to pick up that scent. But how beautiful is that color? Oh my gosh, look at that. So just its movements, you can see body language. Remember, animals don't use a lot of vocalization. A lot of communication is done via body language. And for us, it's fairly easy to understand the behavior once you have the luxury of viewing animals. And you can see this animal. So Glenn is going to get it inside. You can see in front of the snake there's going to be a trail. Look there. Look how the sand has been made flat in front of the snake. Look on the left-hand side of the screen there. So that's where the first snake made its U-turn. Oh my word. Tongue very, very active, and obviously that's its sensory organs that it's picking up with. There's the trail. Linda, yes it is. You are 100% right there. It is the current period for these snakes to search out for partners. Once they find a partner, a little bit of courtship will happen, and then the snakes will entwine with one another, where obviously their reproductive openings and organs will meet up. The male will then transfer sperm, and then the female will go off. She'll find a beautiful little hole, a safe nook or cranny, and then there she'll deposit the eggs, and from there she more than likely will leave. But still, we're trying to understand, so there might be some intriguing answers. I thought it was others. Might be other intriguing things stimulated from the research which is being conducted on these marvelous reptiles. But yes, you're 100% right. It is currently the mating period, and that's why we're seeing so many of them. And how lucky are we? We're together, on this beautiful piece of property, and we've got this playing out in front of us. Absolutely marvelous. He's going to turn left soon, and then he's going to go down to the base of that tree.
Amanda, so the female's body will be producing certain chemical cues. When they urinate, they do discharge, obviously, what they consumed, bodily fluids and a bit of other stuff. So, yeah, that scent would be recognized more than likely as a form of identification, but they don't physically scent mark like a lion. The female, while she's moving, her body will be producing this chemical cue for this male to stimulate him so that he knows that is the lady I need to pursue. She's in the ready state. She wants what I've got, and then obviously things are taken from there. Obviously research going on. We could scent mark in another form of way that I don't know about, but really intriguing answers still are, questions are. Here comes the sparrow weaver back. Can you hear the sparrow weaver? Constant, same note, over and over and over and over. That's an alarm call by a bird. See, now he's remaining motionless. Here comes another one. And obviously, in a joint effort, they'll mob this snake to deter it away from this nest site. This is quite a large one. Wow. Looks like he's a little confused in where that trail has gone now. Really special to be able to share this with everybody, because it's something that I don't see every day, so seeing it is such a treat. The venom possessed by this snake will be neurotoxic, so basically affecting nerves, and it's a very quick acting and a very potent venom at that. Out of all the cobras in Africa, this individual, the Cape Cobra, holds the most potent out of all of the cobras, and it's so fast acting that if you get bitten, you got about 15 minutes where things really start slowing down. The initial bite, you would have a metallic taste in the back of your mouth, and then from there you'll start feeling a bit drowsy, respiration will start slowing down, blood pressure will stop dropping, and within 15-20 minutes you really need to help a patient out. And this species of snake in South Africa accounts for the most bites out of all snakes. Some snakes are very hesitant to bite because the properties of venom are extremely valuable. So a snake looks at you and says, I'm not going to digest you. So this venom, which is actually held within a modified salivary gland, is used not only to subdue prey, but also to digest it. He's coming out the other side. These proteins will also break down the prey's body while the body is being digested within the stomach of the snake. So it's a very important and very valuable commodity. So you don't want to waste it. But a snake will be hesitant to bite because you're not something it's going to be eating. But a very, very quick, very, very potent neurotoxic. And that's possessed by front fixed-fanged snakes in South Africa. So their venoms are categorized by dental structure, and then they are grouped within these groupings. I can't believe this. But yeah, so neurotoxic and very potent at that. We're going to send you off to another location. We'll keep tabs on the snake and we'll see you back here.
We don't always encounter snakes on safari, but when we come across one, it's a delight. So from the Cobra to our baboons and impalas who look so much energetic. You can see some of the impalas running up and about, while some of the young baboons are also running, jumping up around, while others are grooming themselves. Now, this close association, like I told you before, is very important when there's heightened security, because the baboons will alert the antelopes, because the baboons like climbing up on trees where they eat the top foliage and also the fruit. And these impalas or some other antelopes, when they're following the baboons, when they're up on the trees, the baboons will drop some fruit, some leaves, and these antelopes, because they graze and they also browse, they get an advantage of whatever drops down. Most of them are relaxing, basking. You can see the big male walking in. Krishna, thank you for your question. The maximum number of a troop of baboons is about 100. I've seen over about 200, but these were two groups that met in a waterhole, but the maximum number is about 100. So this troop sometimes can be big or small, depending on the home range, but when they encounter each other at feeding grounds or waterhole, sometimes you can hear them barking and chasing one another, but they don't always fight. So the maximum number is about 100, 50 to 100. You can see one grooming there. The allo grooming also enhances the bond, and sometimes you find that lower ranking males will tend to groom the others in presence of the high-ranking male. This shows that they've already been submitting or showing submissiveness to the old males. Youngsters always play and fight sometimes, but these baboons, when they grow up carrying on their daily activity, and when they walk from home range to another, they follow and watch what the adults have been doing. So other than them being taught, they also see and learn and put that into test for themselves. Baboons have to drink on a daily basis, and so they walk from these home ranges in search of water. And sometimes when there is no water, they'll walk to areas where these plants which have high water content. So sometimes out here in the bush, we come across these baboons eating plants that have high water content, and that is the reason why sometimes baboons can be important in location of water. I've seen bushmen and other people who dwell in the bushes Warren, thank you for your question. Baboons, yes, can attack impalas. The big, high-ranking males sometimes can go after the small impalas or the baby impalas, and you see them eating impalas. Baboon can be carnivorous, but as well they're omnivorous. So when you see that kind of a behavior is when they also want to add more nutrients in their diet. So I've seen the baboons attacking impalas. Depending on the availability of food, they walk over 20 or 5 to 20 kilometers away from their foraging ground, or that baboon is not happy with the youngster. You see the top-ranking male demanding respect and always bully the rest of the troop members. I'm going to sit here and watch this interaction as I take you over to another live location.
Oh, we're having the most gorgeous morning here in the riverbed, in the valley of the great Mati River, where the elephants are very peacefully browsing and grazing all around us. There were two little bulls having a little fight, and they went off. They were scolded by their mother and an older sibling. And now we've just got this chap. I suspect that, obviously the rain's created a flush, but I'm sure the flush didn't really take hold until the sun came out and filled the leaves with delicious nutrients. I must say I've seldom seen an elephant herd so utterly unconcerned, where every individual, no matter how close we get to them, just carries on eating. It's just very special. I have to confess to having dropped off slightly myself as well, as we sat here peacefully warming up in the sun, dozing gently. So nice. You go around the corner. I'll in fact probably just go up this hill. It's our elephant. Milling around all around us. There we go. Oh, and there's a tiny little one in front of the sticks here. Hang on, wait. Okay, see him next time, hopefully.
We're here by Buffelshoek Dam. It's just lovely. The hippos look like they're having a great time, bobbing up and down. Quite a few of them. I saw 5. Enjoying the sun, and they look like they're having a really nice time in this water. Almost looks inviting. Be the last invite you ever got, but still inviting. It's very, very peaceful. Just enjoy the sounds and the sights of them coming up and down for a moment. If they would just oblige. Aren't those stunning sounds? Relaxing. Well, I'm not the only one enjoying the sights and sounds of Buffelshoek Dam today, or this morning. We have a giraffe friend. Have you eaten yourself now? There we go. Ears turned back, listening to us, but also to protect the ears as they move their faces through all of those sticks. Nice long eyelashes to protect their eyes as well, and a long muzzle so they can get really into the bush to grab some tasty leaves without hurting themselves. Oh, it's got a dangly bit on its ear. That's definitely listening for us. Eyelashes are so amazing, and when you drive through here in the bush and things are constantly hitting your face, bugs and other sticks and leaves and other things like that, you really get an appreciation for how quickly you can react to something that is going to potentially hit your eye. And apart from predicting and your brain doing amazing calculations between looking at that object or first seeing the object, which is, just a millisecond, first seeing the object, your brain's doing calculation with speed and distance, and you're closing your eyes in time. Apart from that magnificence that's going on in your brain, your eyelashes are these sensory objects that help you to close your eye just in time. It has always amazed me how we can react so quickly to something coming into our eyes. Well, they've tucked under, and we're going to move out to the west.
Two snakes together, guys. Look at this. They have found each other. That mottled snake made about 5 trips around this tree, and eventually myself and Glenn spotted the golden one coming from the tree. We thought it went down into a burrow. Oh my word, I can't believe this is happening. So now we're just going to see what develops from this, because this is all brand new for me once again. I'm shaking. Oh wow. Look how the one's hood is red. You see that, Glenn? Unbelievable. Look at that hood, folks. So it looks like the mottled one is a bit bigger than the golden yellow individual. What is happening? Okay, its hood is going down slowly. One is on the other side of this tree, but they did, as soon as you guys came to us, they actually made contact for the first time. You could see how the mottled one was inching its way closer to finding the golden one. The golden one was actually just hanging there, just waiting, almost nervous, let's say that. Remember, this snake can't recognize static prey or static objects, so if you remain still, it'll see you as another object, a tree or a rock. But now it's almost like, as soon as they've come down, almost like this silence. Second chance, where would you lay the eggs? You would lay the eggs underground or inside a termite mound, somewhere where the environment is controlled and stable for these eggs to develop. Oh, they're getting closer again. But really remarkable behavior to see, because this is a first for me as well. And something that we're trying to understand a bit more is what goes on when two cobras find each other. And second chance, I'm not sure if the mother will stay with the eggs. I think she deposits eggs and she leaves. You get some reptiles displaying parental care, where they can be devoted mothers, like crocodiles, some forms of lizards. But with cobras,
If I'm not mistaken, I think she'll deposit the eggs and she'll be off. Okay. So the golden one now deciding to exit the area. Really amazing behavior to see how these two snakes found each other. And what a coincidence. We're all together and we're all being able to see this. But if I remember correctly, when they do successfully mate here, when she does lay the eggs, she'll lay anywhere between 8, I think it is, and 20 eggs. And that'll obviously be in midsummer, obviously when the temperature, because with reptiles, within the incubation chamber, temperature plays a very important role. Still on the tree, the base of the tree, and now this yellow one now making its route around the tree. Can't believe this is happening. So hopefully they'll join up again, and hopefully we can see some other interesting behavior. That mottled one has gone absolutely static now. I know where these two snakes are. Hopefully no snakes are sneaking up on us. Like the other day, we had that dark morph coming quite close to the car. If this snake had to come closer to the car, what I would do is just either take my stick and tap the ground. The animal will be able to feel that, or I would just stand up and make myself visually there. So obviously we don't want the snake to go in the undercarriage or in between the wheels. We don't want to hurt it. But just to deter it away from the car is obviously the most important thing. So the mottled one has moved slowly around the base of that tree now, while this beautiful yellow individual is making tracks, it looks like now. Organs situated for snakes to mate. They are found on the ventral side or the tummy side of the snake, and it would be near the end of the tail. So from the tail of these cobras, maybe about 10 centimeters from the tip of the tail up towards the head, 10 centimeters, and then underneath the ventral side there'll be a small opening. Obviously the female, it'll be an opening. With the male, he's got a hemipenis, and that hemipenis is basically pulled into his body like a inside out sock. And then from blood and obviously the stimulation of mating, blood then forces these organs out, and then obviously they are used. Only one is used at a time, and that is allowing the snake that, you know, to find a mate is a very tricky thing. With organisms, when you find a mate, they've got very specific parameters that, you know, if you're in the ocean or if you're in the soil, if you find a mate, you're going to be with that mate. But with snakes, obviously, they're a bit slow moving. The chances of coming across are quite slim. So if you find a mate now and you're a successful individual, you'll mate with a female, and that second penis, hemipenis, hence at hemi, it is 2, that allows the male then to have a chance to mate with another female directly afterwards. Some fish in the deep ocean actually attach themselves onto a mate when they finally attach a mate, and they live their entire life attached onto the female mate, which is incredible.
We are still here because our giraffe came around, and he thought maybe he would come down to drink. It should be really nice to see. I love watching them drink. You can still hear the lovely sound of the hippos releasing their puff of air. Oh, it's some mating. These hippos have been mating a couple times. Now let's see if they'll come up again. The ultimate water drinker, you'd like to know how long it takes a giraffe to burp? That is an incredible question. I have no idea how long it would take a giraffe to burp. I can't even give you some sort of estimate. Can't say I've seen one burp or heard it. But I would think longer than it takes us. Well, that depends as well. You gonna go have a drink? No, walking right on by. Oh, to the other side of the tree. That's very clever. So once they start eating on one side, the tree will start releasing chemicals, and then that side of the tree will get very tanniny. So then they'll move over to the other side and start eating those leaves that are a little bit more tasty than the ones that are filled with tannin. Jermaine, you'd like to know if sometimes hippos mate out of water? No, they mate in the water. In fact, they're, apart from marine mammals, they're the only African mammal that will mate and give birth in the water. Remember, for hippos, water is a place of safety. And when you're mating, that's a really compromising place, or compromising act. You are completely involved in this act, and you won't be able to, or you won't be as successful if you're constantly distracted by having to be very cautious about what's going on around you. So you'll find that some animals, in fact most animals, if their mating is not very quick and they're not in a herd, then they will go to some place there where they feel safe. And with hippos, they feel safe in the water. That's not mating. That's just the two of them together. When you see them out of the water, it's quite obvious. The size difference between the male and the female. It's very easy to pick them apart. love the sounds and sights at Buffelshoek Dam. Tuck their ears and they go under, and sometimes you just see the snout and two nostrils as the last thing to submerge, just like that. All right, well, we're gonna head off this time to the west and slowly make our way around towards camp.
There is still a hive of activity at this yellow gold individual has now made its way into a tree, and the mottled one is following the same pathway but very slowly. Oh, this is too crazy, guys. So on regards to the questions that were asked, yeah, these snakes would deposit eggs, a number of eggs, and then she would make her way off. It's pythons that look after and obviously incubate and protect those eggs. But really nice questions, thank you much, because that just makes me a better guide. And then with regards to the albino format, that once again, that recessive gene, that would be created in an unnatural environment where that would be like a zoo or breeders that breed snakes would have that recessive gene, find another partner, allow those two snakes to mate, and so you get more albino snakes. In the natural, here it comes, oh my gosh. I'm going to keep quiet for a few minutes. I'm just going to let you guys enjoy this. Oh, my word. So very intriguing to see what happens if they meet up. Sure. How long is the incubation for cobras? FC, can you go with the viewer's name again, please, for me? Marianne, I've got absolutely no idea, to be honest with you. We're actually going to be having a person coming to take a look at these snakes shortly and just to see the behavior. It's in conjunction with Tswalu Foundation, which is doing a lot of research on these snakes. I'm going to have to ask him. His knowledge is a little bit more in depth than mine with these snakes. So I'm going to have to ask him, and then I will definitely get back to you in the next couple of minutes. But a really nice question once again. Broadening my knowledge, broadening yours. We are learning together here. Okay, very close. Elisa, so with Cape Cobras, it's a little bit difficult, and one would be able to tell the sex of snakes either by handling it, or if you've had the luxury of being hands-on and close and personal with these beautiful, beautiful snakes. So it's with another species called a puff adder, another species of snake, called a puff adder, you would find that around the end of the tail it's quite bulbous, showing that the male's reproductive organs are housed inside there. With cobras, same principle, but it takes a little bit of time for one to ID male and female. With this one, it's not such a prominent sight as it's with puff adders. That mottled one is just watching that golden snake. And the behavior's kind of shifted because the mottled snake, when it came in, it was very active. Once they finally met up, the mottled one kind of settled down, and now is when this golden individual has become extremely active. It's almost like it's sussing out, what should I do?
second chance? Yes, they do. You are right on that. They do pick up scent with their tongue. And if you look at the tongue nice and closely, if we can get another close-up there, if Glenn can punch us in, maybe we can get a little sight of that tongue. I want you to look at the tongue. It's very quick, but you'll see that the tongue is forked. You'll see two pieces at the end. And that allows the animal to pick up scent particles left and right. And give it direction as well. But then that tongue will be pulled into its mouth. It rests at the bottom jaw, but then when at rest, when the mouth is closed, it then touches the roof of the top jaw. Oh, that makes sense. And that's where that organ, that specialized organ, is housed. And that's where the chemical cues are then deciphered by the olfactory lobe, which sits in the front of the snake's face. And that allows the snake to decipher and understand, is it a female? Is it the right chemicals that I need to pursue her? Is it prey? So a very important tool for these snakes. And you would find that when we were watching those monitor lizards fight the other day, they also too have a forked tongue. So a nice, fairly common trait through the reptile family. This mottled snake has not moved now. It's intriguing for me now, because now, what is really going on here? You know, we're trying to watch, we're trying to interpretate, we're trying to gather. Bianca, 60 to 80 days, the incubation period. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for providing us with that lovely information. 60 to 80 days, there we go. So female deposits those eggs. I think it's up to 12, I said earlier, and then 60 to 80 days inside the nest chamber. And then when they hatch, they'll be tiny in comparison to these big adults. I mean, these adults are around about 1 meter. When those young hatch, they'd be about 30 odd centimeters, 30 to 40 odd centimeters in length. But then obviously very, very vulnerable, being such a small snake. And even at that small size, they are still able to bite you. They still possess venom, and they're even more dangerous than these adults, because young ones are not hesitant to bite. And when they bite, they don't have control over those specialized salivary glands which hold the venom. So when they bite, they just bite and they envenomate everything. So very dangerous when they are young. But as is with most things, the golden rule is respect. Keep your distance, give the animal respect, appreciate, and you don't panic. You never ever panic. Oh my gosh, okay, what's going to happen here? Oh. Remember, I have mentioned that these snakes do eat other snakes. So hopefully this is not going to happen. Hopefully this is a happy ending where, you know, they're going to find a nice comfy abode and hopefully make more snakes. Wow. So a little touch, the mottled one pulled its tail away, this yellow one came back up, tasted the end of the tail, and then moved off. I hope everybody's enjoying this as much as we are. I've never seen Glenn so fixated on the camera. It's a privilege. So look how vigorously that tongue is coming in and out of that mouth. You're very active. And obviously being a bit warmer today, these snakes now are supercharged, allowing their bodies just to absorb all the heat from the ground, allowing them to become very active. So in the colder parts of the year, they'll find a nice, comfy abode, and they'll remain very inactive, slow the metabolic rate down, activity, everything. And their last meal is very important because that pushes them through the winter until early spring. Okay, so folks, if it does come close, I'm just going to move the car. Or I'm just going to tap my stick on the ground. I don't want it to come very close to the car. Sorry about the movements here. What cologne are you wearing, Glenn? What cologne are you wearing? I'm a snake. Beautiful. Look at this view that we are having, guys. So just out of respect there, so ethically, that was fine. I didn't approach the snake. The snake approached me, but I have the ability to know that I don't want that snake to come close to the car. So by moving it, you can see I didn't disturb it at all. Didn't even flinch, didn't raise its hood. There was no aggressive behavior there whatsoever. This snake is fixated on something else. The wind is just whipping through here. Oh my word, what a beautiful view. So when it comes to snakes and handling snakes, obviously should not be done, guys. And if it is in your home or if it is in your car, you want to contact an expert, obviously to remove it safely, because that's when most accidents happen, is when one is handling a snake. Alright, we're going to send you to another location. We are going to go nowhere, I promise you. We'll see you shortly.
Here we are having an exceptional steenbokken sighting. It is a very long time since I did a steenbok segment, because the steenbok have in general been fairly skittish, and with all the other stuff around, it takes a little bit longer than the steenbok are prepared to stand to get across to us. But this one thinks we can't see him, and so he is prepared to stand. Now, I was just telling him, Paul moved in the seat, and he said he's going to run as soon as I move, and I said, if he doesn't think we've seen him, he won't move. And I do think that the camera looks like a big eye to them, and so if you're close by, I do think that they realize they've been spotted. But if you're a little bit further away like this, I'm not sure that they do. And I was relating the experience. I was going for a run the other day, and I saw a steenbok up ahead, and it was just feeding, and I could see it watching me, and so I looked away, and I pretended not to see it. I ran past, sort of just watching it out of the very corner of my eye. And I ran past it about 2 meters away, and it didn't move. It stayed dead still, and then I turned my head to look. Took off like a rocket. That's my steenbok story. He's quite a good-looking male. This I also feel he's quite big for a steenbok. He's the rock of steenboks, the Dwayne Johnson of steenboks. I wonder how Dwayne Johnson would enjoy being compared with a steenbok. I think probably not very much. That his left bicep is about the same size as a steenbok. If any of you happen to bump into Dwayne Johnson on the Hollywood Boulevard or wherever it is that he hangs out, tell him that he looks like a steenbok, and then run very fast. rather adorable, Elizabeth. I agree with you. They're very sweet little things. Yeah, he's convinced we can't see him. He thinks his disguise is so incredible. Maybe he's just so confident because he's such a big steenbok that he thinks he can take on anyone physically. Such a lovely day. That chorus of birds has changed again to the rattling testicular. You can hear the buzzing of a golden-breasted bunting. Orange-breasted bushrack way in the distance.
Well, here we are in the plains of Masai Mara, a very different and totally different location, quite far away from where I was. And here I have a very relaxed and chilled out herd of elephants spread out everywhere as far as I can see, and it's just a beautiful setup that I have here of the elephants. There is nobody around here. These were the plains that were full of wildebeest a few days ago, combined with zebras, but the only thing that we can find right now is this small herd of elephant. It is a good sign that the elephants are comfortable and they have come back to these plains, because normally they don't like the noise of the wildebeest, but really disturb them. They're very intelligent elephants, and so they will avoid the wildebeest and zebra, usually staying at the marsh or heading out into the escarpment, and usually coming out only during the night to graze when the wildebeest are just quiet. Here is a beautiful small herd of breeding herd. It looks like they were trying to sniff that truck that passed there. You could see them raising their trunks. There's a very tiny one there, less than, I would say, 2 months. Really, really small and cute. We have these, very many of this age at the moment, which is, look at how he's lifting his trunk up. Typical of youngsters when they're that young, that trunk hasn't developed, very many muscles, and so it's just a matter of something that is extended from their forehead, and so they sometimes twist it and sometimes actually try to get rid of it. Looks like they're twins, actually. I don't know if the one to the left will stand up and we could compare, but it's really it's trying to stand up. It can be difficult getting up, but there we go. Looks like it's gonna be up quite soon. Is the other one gonna come and join it? They're usually very playful at this age, and it is always nice to give them a bit of time so they could play. Looks like it was a lot of effort to get up, so trying to catch up. Yeah, they look almost the same size. Are they gonna go and stand up close to one another? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, well, it's been such a wonderful morning having you as our audience. From me and all my colleagues, my directors, my cameramen, and everybody else, all I can tell you is, hold tight for this afternoon and be there. Bye-bye.
What makes andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve so special is our massive array of habitats. And with that comes, of course, a beautiful diversity of landscapes, but also an incredible biodiversity in terms of plants, bird life and animal life, as well as, of course, our conservation success stories with cheetah, with rhinos, now with pangolins too. Join me